And we're talking about what qualifications do you have to be? 219-845-1100. What's the most important qualities in a candidate? And I believe the IQ is the most important. And I also believe that you shouldn't be, I mean, you hate to say someone can't be a millionaire, but wouldn't it be just nice to have someone who knows what the average person goes through?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's something that we'll be able to relate to them, I think, more. And I think that we'll be able to, I don't know, have a good, more of a, not relationship, because obviously not all of us can talk to the president, but definitely a more of a better understanding.
And here's one of the other things I want to talk about today is employers. Now, and I'm not a big, I mean, I'm on Facebook, but employers actually are asking their people when they're applying for jobs, they want your Facebook password. That to me just seems outrageous. D of H is on line one. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Nick, you know what I'll do?
What's that?
I'll vote for you, because anyone that pronounces 100,
Right.
I'm voting for, man.
That's 144th and Northcott pronunciation.
That's right.
That's how we say it over there.
100, absolutely. I'll be your campaign manager.
Dem, dare, doze, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tested at the Genius Level at one point in my life. I think it was first grade. They tried to hold me back, and they made him give me a test.
You know, it's funny.
I'm sticking with that initial score that I had.
It's funny. Just listening to Jib. My wife and I listen to Jib in the morning.
Right.
And the region accent is kind of a bastardized Chicago, accent,
Right. Mm-hmm.
sort of.
Right.
And he's like Mr. Region,
Right.
And I catch my wife sometimes because she spent 20 years in Chicago. Car, the long R,
right.
Garbage, and I make fun of her in that regards. But anyone that says Hunter with a T, I'm voting for my man.
I appreciate the backing there, Dave. It's interesting. I've traveled all over the world actually, and I'll tell you, everybody. A lot of times people will say you're from New York, and every once in a while I get somebody who goes, you're actually from the South Side of Chicago.
That's right. Yeah, it's a unique language in itself, and that's why I love listening to the Tony from Munster with the Polish deli.
Right.
It puts a smile on my face every time I hear that commercial. Plus, I have to go over there and get some horseradish.
What's amazing, because it really doesn't even matter what ethnicity you are. If you're from the region, you kind of talk like a regionaire.
Absolutely right. Yeah. Unfortunately, if we look back on all of our presidents, even though some of them had humble beginnings, and I think one of the greatest, even though he's a very well-liked president, but the greatest popularity contest that in recent history has to be Eisenhower. That was a huge, just from a popularity contest. Plus, he kind of he was going against a weak field, but nevertheless.
Dave, you must be psychic, because that is actually on my notes today. Because this day in history, President Eisenhower died today. This day in history.
Oh, really? He was in today's standard. He was a Republican and he was a conservative, but since the Republican Party has been hijacked by the ultra whack job far right, Eisenhower and Nixon and even Ronald Reagan would be considered centrists or liberals in the new Republican Party.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. Well, Dave, what do you think is the most important quality in a candidate?
Humility.
Well, I don't see too many people who are humble going into politics. I mean,
it's rare, and that's what I would want. I would want someone, and he's probably going to text me for this, but Frank Bervan III.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say.
He always remembers where he came from.
Right. Well, I think that's a very important quality too, and that's kind of where my not a millionaire thing comes into play, because generally people who aren't loaded generally tend to remember where they came, and they obviously probably work that way to, even if they are successful, they work that way to get there.
Don't remember or don't know how many houses they own. Right. I really don't want that person to be president.
Exactly.
And the Bush, all the blue bloods, from the that
right.
family has been rich since the 1700s.
Sure.
We don't need them. This Romney, he's another silver spoon baby. And he says he was in the missionary, the Mormon missionary.
Right.
He spent most of his time in France in the chalet.
Right.
All of them just make me just sick. I hate to be in the situation that I have to chew the least bitter aspirin who I'm going to pick.
Right, the lesser of evils. Well, you know what they say, politics is show business for ugly people, right?
Amen to that.
Hey, Dave, thanks a lot for calling in. We're going to keep moving along.
Bye.
We got Rick on line 3. Rick, how are you, my friend?
All right, how are you?
I'm good.
We had a very smart candidate, but I think he fell to the wayside. It was Ron Paul. I mean, the man was a doctor.
Well, that's true. And you know what? When he first started, this is what always makes me laugh when I get people calling in telling me, you're a liberal, you're this, you're that. And these are people who barely even know me or only know me through the radio. I actually liked Ron Paul at first. I thought he had some interesting ideas. And then, some of his stuff was a little far out there for me. Yeah, you're right. He was an educated man. And
he said, the number one thing I'm looking for, if you can prove it, be honesty.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. How are you going to test someone to know if they're honest? And would you? I mean, first of all, they're in politics, so I mean, and that's the problem with what politics is. People don't want to hear something they don't want to hear, so that's why these guys, half of them lie, because their number one job is to get elected, right? So they have to kind of, lie to people, because if they really told them what they feel, they'd lose votes. And then I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming the people, because people want their candidate to be 100% perfect, and it's just not going to happen ever.
Well, I want them to be honest about the debt, honest, about where we're headed. Because the average Joe doesn't know a lot of that stuff.
An honest politician. You better click your heels 3 times while you're asking for that one.
Well, we can wish, can't we?
Right. Well, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a genius or an honest guy?
Well, I guess a genius, an honest genius guy.
Yeah, well.
Somebody like the guy that runs Apple, somebody like him,
Yeah, well, I don't know how honest he is, but he's certainly a genius. Or was that the guy who passed away?
No, the other guy, the one that gave all his money away.
Oh.
Forget his name. He was part of Apple for a while.
Right.
Wears glasses. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I don't know either.
He's one of the richest men in the world.
Is it Steve Jobs is the guy who just passed away, right?
Well, no, not him. The one that forget his name. I don't know. He got married and he got a great big house in Colorado, and he's got, he's like the second or third richest person in the world.
Here's a little info for you. Speaking about rich, if you had 10 billion $1 bills and spent $1 every second every day, it would take 317 years for you to go broke. And I bet my girlfriend can beat that record.
I'd have to have a lot of grandkids.
Thanks for your call. We appreciate it.